Most men rush into relationships because the connection feels exciting, comforting, or simply better than being alone. But very few actually stop to ask the questions that reveal who she truly is beneath the surface. And that's where everything goes wrong. When you don't slow down and examine her mindset, her values, and the way she handles real-life pressure, you end up building a relationship on assumptions instead of truth. That's why so many men feel blindsided later. Her behavior changes, her effort drops, or her intentions were never clear from the beginning. Before you get serious with any woman, these 7 questions will give you the clarity you need. They help you avoid heartbreak, confusion, and the kind of emotional mistakes that drain years of your life. These questions cut through the early excitement and show you whether she's compatible, emotionally mature, and ready for something real. So here's the real question you need to be honest about. Are you choosing her because she aligns with your values, or because you're afraid of being alone? In today's US dating culture, everything happens at lightning speed. You match, you text for a few days, you go on a couple of dates, and before you even understand who you're dealing with, feelings start forming. The pace makes it easy to get comfortable quickly. Constant messaging, quick intimacy, shared jokes, and that early excitement that feels like chemistry. But clarity, that usually comes last. And when it finally shows up, it often exposes things you wish you'd known earlier. Most men overlook the warning signs because the attraction feels good. She's pretty, she's friendly, she pays attention, and that's enough to override caution. Men convince themselves the connection is special, even when they barely know her worldview, her emotional habits, or how she behaves when things get difficult. But a Stoic doesn't let excitement make decisions. A Stoic slows down. A Stoic examines character before commitment. If you've ever felt confused by a sudden shift in her tone, unexpected distance, or mixed signals that appear out of nowhere, it's rarely random. It usually means you moved forward without ever asking the questions that reveal who she really is, how she communicates, how she handles conflict, what she wants long-term, and whether she even has the emotional maturity for a real relationship. Most of the pain men experience could be avoided simply by seeking clarity early instead of hoping everything works out later. Here are the 7 questions she hopes you never ask, because they reveal everything about who she really is and whether a serious relationship is even possible. These aren't trick questions, they're clarity questions. They cut through charm, attention, and early excitement to show her mindset, her emotional patterns, and whether she's someone who can truly be counted on in a relationship. Most men never ask them, and that's why so many feel blindsided later. Question 1. How do you handle conflict? Conflict isn't optional in life or relationships. How a person reacts under pressure tells you more about their character than anything else. If she avoids conflict entirely, shuts down emotionally, or explodes at the smallest disagreement, that's likely how she'll behave in every relationship moving forward. Psychology shows that conflict patterns are deeply ingrained and rarely change unless someone actively works on them. Early on, you may rationalize her behavior or think it's temporary, but over time, those habits show up repeatedly. Asking this question early isn't about catching her off guard. It's about understanding if she has the emotional tools to handle disagreements without turning every issue into drama or withdrawal. Question 2. What does a healthy relationship look like to you? This question cuts straight to expectations. Some people have a practical, grounded view of relationships. They understand compromise, shared responsibilities, emotional honesty, and long-term growth. Others operate in fantasy, believing relationships should always feel exciting, effortless, and drama-free. The answer tells you whether she has a realistic understanding of what it takes to build a stable, lasting connection, or if she's chasing an ideal that won't match reality. Most men ignore this, thinking compatibility will appear naturally, but it doesn't. Differences in expectations are often the root of frustration and heartbreak. Question 3. What are your top 3 non-negotiables? Boundaries matter. People who don't know what they absolutely need in life or relationships often have trouble respecting others' boundaries. Asking this question reveals what she values, what she cannot compromise on, and how intentional she is in her life decisions. As Seneca said, "If a man does not know to what port he sails, no wind is favorable." This applies to her too. If she doesn't know her non-negotiables, or if they seem shallow or unrealistic, that's a red flag for future conflicts when values inevitably clash. Question 4. How do you take accountability when you're wrong? Everyone makes mistakes. The question is how she reacts when it happens. If she immediately blames others, her ex, her parents, circumstances, or friends, you can be sure she will eventually blame you too. Accountability is a cornerstone of maturity. A person who owns their mistakes can learn, grow, and handle challenges in a relationship without constantly shifting responsibility. Ignoring this early can lead to repeated cycles of blame and emotional frustration later on. Question 5. What are you working on improving in yourself right now? This question separates growth-minded women from stagnant ones. Growth-minded individuals focus on long-term improvement, emotional control, career progress, health, and personal skills. Stagnant individuals often focus on short-term gratification, emotional reactions, and external validation. Her answer will tell you if she's self-aware, reflective, and proactive about becoming a better version of herself, or if she's waiting for life to happen around her without intentional effort. Question 6. What happened in your last relationship, and what did you learn from it? This isn't about judgment. It's about self-awareness. Everyone has a past, and a history of mistakes is normal. What matters is whether she reflects on those experiences and applies lessons to future behavior. If she can clearly articulate what she learned, it shows maturity, insight, and accountability. If she refuses to take ownership or frames everything as someone else's fault, it's a strong signal that she may not have the emotional tools for a healthy relationship moving forward. Wisdom comes from reflection, not experience alone. Question 7. What do you value most in a partner? This question is critical because it shows whether her priorities align with yours. If her answer is vague, superficial, or focused only on appearance or convenience, your connection is likely to stay shallow. If her answer is thoughtful, aligned with your values, and emphasizes emotional support, growth, and mutual respect, it indicates a deeper compatibility. This is the final filter. If her core values clash with yours, no amount of chemistry or attraction will make the relationship sustainable. Which of these questions hit you the hardest so far? Type the number in the comments. Let's see which one you've been avoiding asking the most. These 7 questions are simple, direct, and powerful. They aren't meant to intimidate her or test her like an exam. They're meant to give you clarity, protect your time and emotions, and help you make confident decisions. Most men skip them and end up in relationships full of guesswork, confusion, and unnecessary pain. By asking them early, you see the real her mindset, her emotional habits, and whether she's truly capable of being a partner who complements your life instead of complicating it. Here's how to apply these questions the Stoic way so you don't just collect information, you actually see the truth and protect yourself emotionally. Most men ask too late, listen too little, or let excitement blind them. If you follow these steps carefully, you'll gain clarity, confidence, and a level of control over your emotions and decisions that most men never experience. Step 1. Ask early, not late. Timing matters more than anything. Don't wait until you're deeply invested to ask the questions that reveal who she really is. When you wait, attachment clouds judgment, and small red flags become ignored or rationalized. Asking early doesn't make you judgmental, it makes you self-aware. It's not about interrogating her or trying to catch her in a mistake. It's about observing her tone, the way she answers, her honesty, and her emotional maturity. A calm, early conversation shows you who she really is before feelings make it difficult to see clearly. If she reacts defensively or evasively, that's important information. If she answers thoughtfully, consistent with her values, that tells you she's capable of reflection and emotional responsibility. This step alone separates men who waste years in confusion from those who make confident, informed decisions. Step 2. Listen more than you talk. This is crucial. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason." You don't need to fill the space with your own opinions or attempts to impress her. Your role is to listen actively and without judgment. Listen not just to her words, but to the nuances in tone, hesitation, or enthusiasm. Most men fail here. They think answering or explaining themselves will win her approval. The truth is, Clarity comes from observing her responses in real time. If she can speak openly about conflict, personal growth, past mistakes, and values without defensiveness, that tells you more than anything she could say about what she wants in life. Listening also allows you to gauge consistency between her words and her natural reactions. Watch for honesty under pressure, because that's what carries over into a long-term relationship. Step 3. Watch for inconsistencies. Words are easy, actions are hard. A person can say all the right things, but if their behavior doesn't align with their words, that's a warning sign. Observe her lifestyle, her decision-making, how she treats friends and strangers, and whether her behavior reflects the principles she claims to live by. Consistency is everything. If she says she values honesty but frequently lies about minor things, you can expect bigger lies in situations that matter more. If she claims to handle conflict maturely but shuts down every time something challenging arises, that pattern won't change without effort. Pay attention to small cues. How she responds when plans change, how she speaks about previous relationships, how she treats people who cannot benefit her. These are often far more telling than anything she says during a serious conversation. Step 4. Stay grounded. Don't rush attachment. Emotional calm is your best tool. The moment you get swept up in excitement, desire, or fear of being alone, clarity fades. Red flags blur, warning signs feel trivial, and rational assessment becomes impossible. Stoicism isn't about cold detachment, it's about measured response. Stay grounded. Give yourself space to evaluate her without letting emotions drive your decisions. Take note of patterns over time instead of one-off reactions. If she's consistently thoughtful, accountable, and aligned with your values, she earns your trust. If she's inconsistent, defensive, or evasive, take it as a serious warning. Rushing attachment is what keeps most men in relationships full of confusion and regret. By slowing down, observing patterns, and making decisions from a place of calm, you protect your emotional energy and ensure that commitment is based on truth, not temporary feelings. If you consistently apply these steps, you will never feel confused about a woman again. You'll enter relationships with certainty, knowing who she truly is. Your self-respect will remain intact because you don't compromise on clarity or boundaries. You'll experience a stoic calm in dating that most men never develop, a sense of control and emotional mastery. Relationships won't feel like a guessing game. You'll be harder to manipulate, easier to understand, and impossible to replace for the right person. If you want more clarity, confidence, and emotional mastery in dating and life, hit subscribe. Share this video with someone who needs it. By committing to these principles, you build emotional resilience, practical wisdom, and a mindset that attracts the kind of people worth keeping in your life. Comment Stoic Clarity if you want these 7 questions turned into a printable checklist for easy use in your own dating life. Following these steps isn't just about dating. It's about training your mind to observe, assess, and act intentionally in every area of life. It's about seeing the world clearly, making better decisions, and never settling for confusion or chaos.